The next day, Sabrina woke up feeling excited about getting a new outfit to help her on her journey. She got dressed, and headed out to the marketplace where the magic clothing shop was located. As she entered the shop, a small bell chimed and a man greeted her with a warm smile. "Welcome to my humble shop," he said. "My name is Gavin Thunderax, and I specialize in magical clothing and accessories." Sabrina introduced herself and explained that she was a summoner who used magic in battles. Mr. Thunderax nodded and led her to a corner of the shop where a selection of clothing items was displayed. He started by showing her a big hat, similar to the ones worn by witches. "This is a magical hat that enhances your mana," he said. "It will help you cast spells more easily and effectively." Sabrina tried it on and felt an immediate surge of energy. She was impressed and decided to buy it. Next, he showed her a long, flowing robe made of a lightweight fabric that would allow her to move freely during battles. "This robe is infused with a spell that enhances your agility," he explained. "It will make it easier for you to dodge attacks and move quickly." Sabrina liked the sound of that and decided to try it on. She twirled around in front of the mirror and was pleased with how it felt. The man also showed her a pair of boots with a soft sole that would allow her to move silently. "These boots will make it harder for your enemies to detect your movements," he said. "It will give you an advantage in battles." Sabrina tried them on and walked around the shop. She was surprised at how comfortable they were and how much quieter her footsteps were. Finally, Mr. Thunderax presented her with a pair of gloves that were infused with a spell that enhanced her magic attacks. "These gloves will amplify your magical abilities," he said. "They will make your spells stronger and more effective." Sabrina was impressed and decided to add them to her purchases. As Sabrina tried on everything and saw how they all worked together, Mr. Gavin explained the details and benefits of each piece. She was thrilled with her new outfit and thanked Mr. Gavin Thunderax for his help. With her newfound confidence, Sabrina left the shop, ready to take on any challenges that came her way. Next, she thought to herself that she should now head to the other shop to buy a weapon, as she did not want to go out again without some kind of weapon to aid her and help protect her in her future adventures, as it is a vital piece for any adventurer and her sword was not fitting for her magic. Sabrina strolled down the road, making her way to the weapon shop to browse for suitable gear. Inside, she was greeted by a vast array of weapons, ranging from swords and shields to staffs and unfamiliar round objects resembling bombs, as well as throwing knives and other unidentifiable items. Sabrina approached the counter and greeted the rugged man standing before her. Introducing himself as Samuel Stormrider, he inquired whether she was interested in purchasing new gear or repairing her existing weapons. Sabrina explained her need for a weapon, expressing her dissatisfaction with her current assortment, consisting of an axe, a sword, a few clubs, and shields, none of which proved particularly useful for a magic user like herself. In response, Samuel offered to buy those items from her and suggested something more suitable for her class. Grateful for his assistance, Sabrina smiled and thanked him as he guided her towards the staffs in the shop. He explained that these staffs were well suited for magic users, while the smaller ones provided a more focused approach to magic. Furthermore, he pointed out that the larger staffs could enhance mana capacity, increase magical damage, and even serve as blunt melee weapons for those with sufficient strength. On the other hand, the wands were compact yet boasted greater magical potential, though lacking physical damage capabilities. Considering her own lack of strength, Sabrina opted for a small staff. She reasoned that the larger ones would be cumbersome to carry and not of much use to her. Samuel handed her the staff, and she proceeded to the counter, placing all her acquired weapons on the table for him to purchase. After selling her weapons, she managed to afford the wand and still had some spare silver. Pondering its usefulness, Sabrina decided to acquire a small round shield as well. While it might not be particularly effective for a magic class, she deemed it a practical tool in case monsters managed to reach her, providing a means of defense. Satisfied with her choices, Sabrina thanked Mr. Samuel, bowed politely, and exited the shop, brimming with excitement as she embarked on her next adventure, now fully prepared and armed. Asterisk. Grateful for her new equipment, Sabrina strolled through town with a spring in her step. As she passed by, people watched her with smiles on their faces, commenting on her energy and enthusiasm. She was thrilled to finally have a new outfit, a weapon, and a shield to aid her in her adventures. Thoughts of exciting battles danced through her mind, and she couldn't wait to put her newfound gear to the test. Sabrina's curiosity led her to a small food stall by the road. The tantalizing aroma had caught her attention earlier, and she decided to treat herself to a delicious meal. She approached the friendly lady running the stall and greeted her warmly. With a big smile, Sabrina scanned the table, trying to decide what to try first. Her eyes settled on a stick with meat wrapped around it, and she pointed to it, inquiring about the type of meat. The lady informed her that it was wild boar, known for its delectable taste, and handed her a small sample. Sabrina's eyes sparkled with delight as she happily accepted the treat and devoured it, nearly choking on the stick itself. She exclaimed with joy about its wonderful flavor and asked to buy some for herself. Walking through the town with her tasty treats in hand, Sabrina continued to explore before eventually making her way back to the guild hall. Once inside the grand building, she headed straight to the mission board, eager to find a new quest for the day. As she perused the available quests, she noticed several gathering tasks and others involving finding missing individuals or animals. However, after careful consideration, she decided to opt for a fighting quest this time to save time and avoid unnecessary complications. Among the various notes on the board, Sabrina focused on the different monsters listed, ranging from dragons to goblins, wolves, trolls, bandits, and more. After a closer examination, she determined that tackling the wolves would be a suitable choice, as she had recently encountered smelly trolls and goblins and preferred to avoid them for a while. She confidently grabbed the quest paper from the notice board and made her way to the counter where Miss Yui awaited. Handing over the paper, she requested to take on the quest, and Miss Yui gladly accepted, wishing her luck and a safe return. With the quest in hand, Sabrina ventured out to embark on her new adventure, hunting 5 wolves. She headed towards the eastern part of town, where the forest began, as indicated in the mission notice. As she delved deeper into the lush greenery, the only sounds she heard were the chirping of wild birds and the faint rustling of animals in the underbrush. Sabrina made a conscious decision not to rush through this quest, wanting to savor the beauty of this enchanting world. There were countless picturesque views awaiting her, along with a diverse array of wild creatures. Amidst her leisurely stroll through the dense terrain, Sabrina contemplated testing her new gear. The store had not provided an ideal setting for trying them out to their fullest potential. A mischievous grin spread across her face as she leaped into action, gauging the freedom of movement her outfit granted her and the enhanced speed of her boots. She jumped with exuberance, soaring through the air and landing on a tree branch, astounded by the height she had achieved. Filled with excitement, she laughed and continued by leaping down and sprinting at full speed, effortlessly maneuvering over bushes, rocks, and between trees. In her exhilaration, she momentarily forgot about the quest she had recently taken, becoming completely absorbed in the thrill of running. When she could run no longer, her tired legs gave way beneath a majestic tree. Spreading her arms and legs apart, Sabrina took deep breaths, closing her eyes, and expressed gratitude to the gods for bringing her to this magical world. She felt a profound sense of liberation, finally able to unleash her energy and run freely. It had been years since she felt this healthy, and as she exhaled, she absorbed the breathtaking beauty surrounding her. Leaves gently descended from the trees, captivating her gaze and drawing her into their graceful descent. Overwhelmed by the simplicity yet magnificence of this natural occurrence, Sabrina realized she had never taken a moment to appreciate such a simple joy. Tears welled up in her eyes, trickling down her cheeks, but they were tears of bliss. With a smile radiating from her face, she allowed herself to release all that burdened her, letting the tears flow freely. In this single moment, she embraced and savored everything that had transpired in both her old and new life. After some time of indulging in the serene beauty surrounding her, Sabrina realized she had rested long enough. She rose to her feet, stretching her arms wide and taking a deep breath. Exhaling and pinching her cheeks, she mustered determination to continue with her mission. Casting a final gaze at the breathtaking scenery, she inhaled deeply, fixed her gaze ahead, and firmly planted her feet on the ground. With a surge of energy, she propelled herself forward, as if she had been launched from a rocket, zooming through the forest with an ear-to-ear smile. The wind at her back reminded her of the boundless potential of her magic. While she had expected wind magic to be useful, its full extent surprised her. Recalling the moment she had risen from her rest, Sabrina closed her eyes and visualized the power of wind enveloping her body and soul. She concentrated on channeling it downward, specifically to her feet. She imagined the gusts swirling beneath her feet, providing a firm and propulsive foundation. She extended her visualization to cupping her hands, filling them with the swirling wind, like a liquid, before it encompassed her entire palms and hands. As she put her hands behind her and kicked away with her feet, the air beneath her lifted her into the air, her hands helping to maintain balance. A mix of surprise and exhilaration painted her face as she let out a joyous scream, soaring through the forest with minimal contact between her feet and the ground. Upon arriving in the area where the wolves were last seen, Sabrina halted her speedy advancement. She reached for her staff, tucked away securely in its holder on her waist, and grasped the shield she carried on her back. Swinging the shield around lightly, she admired its compact size and lightweight design. A pleased smile crossed her lips as she reaffirmed her satisfaction with the purchase. With her weapon and shield at the ready, she began to tread deeper into the forest, maintaining a vigilant stance, knowing the wolves could be lurking anywhere. Sabrina cautiously ventured deeper into the forest, her senses heightened and her grip tightening on her small staff and shield. She was aware that she would soon encounter the pack of wolves, knowing to expect at least 5 of them as the quest stated, and she wanted to be prepared. The staff in her hand provided a boost to her magic abilities, allowing her to harness the powers of wind, water, earth, fire, darkness, and light. As she continued her journey, the atmosphere grew eerily quiet, the chirping of birds ceasing and the rustling of leaves fading away. The presence of the wolves was palpable in the air, and Sabrina could sense their keen eyes watching her every move. She needed to act swiftly and strategically. Considering the goal of not damaging the wolves' hides, Sabrina decided that employing water or air magic would be the most suitable approach. Water magic would allow her to create powerful torrents or manipulate the environment to her advantage, while air magic offered agility and the ability to disorient her adversaries. Taking a deep breath to steady herself, Sabrina channeled her focus into summoning her water magic. She extended her hand, envisioning a sphere of water materializing before her. With a flick of her wrist, she sent a controlled wave towards the approaching pack of wolves, aiming to deter their advances and create a temporary barrier between them. The wolves, taken aback by the sudden surge of water, hesitated momentarily, giving Sabrina a brief window to plan her next move. Utilizing her quick thinking, she decided to complement her water magic with the swiftness of air magic. Closing her eyes, she tapped into the currents around her, feeling the wind caress her skin and flow through her very being. She visualized herself becoming one with the air, lighter than a feather, and as she opened her eyes, a gust of wind enveloped her. Taking advantage of her newfound agility, Sabrina leaped into the air, gracefully evading the lungs of the wolves. With precise movements, she directed bursts of wind towards the pack, aiming to disorient and momentarily separate them. Her dexterity allowed her to swiftly dodge their attacks, relying on her shield only when their fangs and claws came perilously close. The combination of water and air magic proved effective in keeping the wolves at bay. Sabrina maintained her focus and used her abilities to control the battlefield, keeping herself a step ahead of her adversaries. She was determined to incapacitate